Afternoon, good afternoon. Welcome to a special discussion with the team from Sariwa. So we have Nisha, Alicer, and Sven Romberg talking about Sariwa. And this is very special because you can order online your fruits and vegetables, and we'll talk to them what makes this very special service. Here in Manila. How are you? Good afternoon. Good afternoon,
Good,
Nisha.
good afternoon, Anton, and thank you for having us here on with your community.
Yes, and
Today,
good afternoon to all those people watching on the live stream and most especially watching on the replay. My name is Anton Diaz, founder of our Awesome Planet, and this is Awesome Live Chat with Sariwa. All right, thank you. And we're here talking to Sariwa. Thank you for Okay, so I'm excited for you to introduce Sariwa. Pero siguro we'll play this video para for people to have context on what Sariwa is. So Sariwa is a fruits, vegetables, sustainable delivery service. And here's a short video. So you deliver all across Metro Manila, correct?
yes,
Yes.
correct. That's it. Yes, we do.
And and we have all the vegetables. So, what vegetables do you carry now? All of these?
Yes, so we do have a complete list. So that video that you saw, actually, that was our first product. So first off, we did highlands and lowland vegetables because
Okay.
we wanted to make most produce available. We started during the pandemic, and so we really
Mhm.
just wanted to help out in being able to deliver produce to the city because at that time it was very challenged. At the same time, we just also really wanted to provide longer term solutions for our farmers.
All right. So, maybe just to properly introduce the company, maybe you can present what Sariwa is and how is this different? Because there's a lot of service also that you can order online. Some are not sustainable, some are sustainable. So, we wanted to know what makes Sariwa different and why should people order from Sariwa. So, we'll pull up your presentation and um, then maybe you can introduce to us what Sariwa is. Okay, here you go.
Thanks so much.
All right, go.
Okay. Well, we started in May 5, 2020. So this was last year at the height of the pandemic and also the lockdown. And we took a look at the landscape and really realized that there are a lot of solutions that were being made for our farmers, um, for them to be able to reach the metro for their produce. But we also realized that this particular challenge is not really new, and there are underlying and bigger factors that have actually led to a lot of the food insecurity that mires the industry today. So what we realized is that there's a lot of intermediaries in the middle that deliver our produce from Benguet, which represents about 70% of our produce, and down to Manila. My partner Sven Romberg is here
Hello.
to join us. Yeah. And so we've been running the business for together with our other partners since then. And what we realized is that as we go through this process of being able to bring fresh and affordable produce, because the shorter you create the links, the shorter the travel time from farmer to market, the we found out that produce will become fresher, and then produce will actually be more affordable because there will be less links in the middle. At the same time, this also is able to help ensure that the farmer gets a better value for their product. So, I mean, for their produce. And so we said we wanted to come up with long-term solutions, the ones that will really stay, and that can really change systemically the system. So we realized that we wanted to work with partners that really sought to improve the quality of life for our farmers. So beyond just making it easily available to the market through Grab, which we were first on, we were actually the pioneers on making fresh produce available on Grab. We also
Ah,
wanted to yeah, and then we also wanted to make sure that we wanted to communicate this idea of sustainable sourcing. I think as a consumer myself, I was not aware about these things before we really understood the industry. And so it's understandable that a lot of us really need to know more about what's going on. Um, and so if you take a look at deeper what happens in the industry, so not only are there too many intermediaries in between, but at the same time, we have to compete with imports that are more affordable. So this means that this incentivizes our farmers, or farmer produce or local produce, because then they become more expensive. The reason why they're expensive is also because our farmers don't really have good access to water. So in Nueva Ecija, for example, as told to us by one of our partners, Raf Janisha from Mad Market, he's our supplier for rice.
Mhm.
Um, he says that because they don't have access to water, they have to pay for gas to be able to run a pump so that water can reach the farmlands. And so this definitely makes our rice more expensive and therefore less attractive to the market, which will now go to imported rice so that they could just get more for their money. But what we fail to realize is that the value is eroded in that sense, and we're not able to support our local farmers. At the same time, the GDP is affected as well. We're not able to, that there's a trade imbalance in that sense.
Okay.
This is actually also true for mushrooms, for onion, for garlic.
Mhm.
And what's sad is that when I talk to restaurant owners, they actually like our garlic better, the local garlic, but and even the local onion, because it's
Mhm.
tastier and of course it's fresher than import. But what happens is that the market becomes just more price centric as opposed to quality centric.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
so we in our company we try to really communicate this to all of our customers, that we want to support local produce, because the more we support it, we believe that there will be better yield through our partners who assist with better farming agricultural practices, and therefore it will be competitive with the market, even with the imports. um, so that's just one of the few challenges really that we face here in the Philippines. And so what we try to do is really get to know our different partners and get to see what kind of long-term solutions they can provide. So we partner with SRS, who provides us with produce that is direct to farm, direct to smallholder farmers. We partnered with Agro Digital, who's very active in being able to bring economies of scale to our farmers. So he's able to
Mhm.
Henry's son is able to bring input costs lower for all of our smallholder farmers. At the same time, he's able to bring resiliency to a network of farmers that could be struck with, let's say, a typhoon, and they'll need to source their produce that they committed to a buyer in some other that they committed to a buyer, right? So that there's not much market disruption in terms of supply and demand. We all know that institutional demand is demanding, in a sense that quality has to be there, consistency
Mhm.
has to be there, pricing has to be stable, and all of these things are impacted by climate change, which has become more apparent and also is exacerbated by the problems of the global pandemic. Um, Through Agro Digital, Henry's also able to reinvest into communities. So we have shared service facilities so that our farmer communities can also process the produce for a much higher value. RAF is able to improve financing terms, because in the agricultural industry, there's a lot of predatory financing, because our
Mhm.
farmers don't actually understand that interest rates should be a lot lower. And so they get stuck in this vicious cycle wherein most of their profit actually goes into just paying back loans. And so that's also one thing that we're very passionate about changing, because we're actually part of like a financial advisory firm
Mhm.
that wants to help SMEs and that really wants to create a good impact in terms of socio-economic development. And then my sister is actually the one that runs Kalipayan Farms. She has a very good community in Bulacan that tries to
Mhm.
preserve heritage, that is trying to convert farms into organic farms, for health purposes, and also for just to be able to take care better of the land. And so
Mm.
our rice, our organic brown rice is from Pulong Cabyawan, which is an agricultural conservation area. This is only fairly recently because over the last year, they've been threatened with over industrialization. And so this Andrew de Guzman actually made it a point to talk to the government there and to say, we need to preserve our land because it cannot just all turn into an industrialized zone. And because he was able to be a stronghold for that area, other farmers did not end up selling their land. And so they're able to preserve their livelihood over the long term. And so these are just some of the communities that we work with, and we definitely are open to collaborating with other communities and even other retailers like us that would like to support these sustainable solutions. So as we go through our business, we realize that there's really a lot of different ways to go about sustainability, and it's really trying to think of what will be impactful and what everyone could really join in, because as a we're really just a small cog in this whole industry, and we'd really just love to be able to tell what we've to let people know about what we've learned over the past year. Um, yeah, and so since May, we've also tried, other sustainable solutions for our communities, and these are just also opportunities that came to us. So we were able to donate to our reading center. In my work in development in my hometown in Leyte, we realized that although education is really going to be the game changer to address poverty, we still have to address the fundamental problem of hunger and malnutrition, which affects the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we operate in the world. And then even as these kids grow up, uh, if they don't have access to good nutrition while they're young or at the critical ages, they won't be able to they will definitely be compromised as adults in terms of being able to help themselves um, as they try to get out of poverty. So that was the idea behind that. We were also very fortunate to work with K for K, which is an NGO that also believes in being able to take care of the youth and also finding long-term solutions to the problems of poverty. This particular project actually focused on the fact that there's increased abuse online because of the increased connectivity and also increased poverty. And so, what we wanted to do was create this supply chain that was sustainable, even in the donation space. So, what we learned from this project is that when we give donations, because it's very urgent or immediate, we also tend to not think about the nutrition that needs to be delivered. And so what we wanted to do was really deliver healthy produce as opposed to processed, that's easy to, as opposed to
Okay.
processed food. And then also we were able to do upcycled flower bags. And this actually supported the embroidery community in Lumban, which is the Philippine capital
Mm.
of embroidery, because they didn't have livelihood, especially during the time of COVID. And so, so actually it was really exciting for us to do this project because it was really sustainable all throughout. And so,
Until
yeah,
now, no? You're still using it.
sorry, yes, we still work with them. So
You're still
actually,
working.
another project that we did with them is that we were able to source produce from them, and then we were
Mm.
also able to give books. So in two slides after, um, there was
This
we
one.
did we sourced produce from them, and then in exchange, we also helped them facilitate establishing a reading center. And so
Mhm.
it was a really nice exchange because the idea behind Sariwa is also that it's socio-economic development. So to improve the income, to promote fair trade, but also to really just give access to a better quality of life. And one way is to have better access to education or literacy. Um, the business actually is quite interesting because in the Philippines, really, our agricultural industry is very challenged in so many ways. The fact that we don't have huge tracts of land, that we have smaller land, and we can't access, um, economies of scale, or that it's challenging, and also that we are just hit by a lot of typhoons all the time. So actually, part of the business challenge that we went through was uh, also being so our employees, they were affected by Ulysses last year, and so.
Mhm.
Um, what's interesting is that at least through the business we were able to support them at that time of need, and we're very happy to be able to have done that. Actually, our team is really very dear to us and very special to us because they're very much part of operations. They help us with purchasing, they help us with understanding the produce, and so much more,
They're
really.
real decision makers in the process, and they're highly independent as well, and so we're able to rely on them heavily.
Right. Actually, Sven has been very critical in being able to train our employees, because we think that that's also very much part of the sustainability aspect of our
Mhm.
business. We want to be able to work well with our team, and that they would also be empowered, and really learn from the process and become possibly managers themselves,
How big is
at
the team?
the business. How big is
How
the
big
team?
is it?
Uh, we're about six people working with us,
Right
plus
now?
Nisha and myself.
Okay. All right. Maybe we'll just finish this presentation and then I have some questions so that we can go to the discussion. So maybe you can walk us through the products again.
Sure. Yeah. So we started out with highlands and lowlands vegetables, and then eventually we realized that the market requires to be able to mix and match the products that they buy, and so
Mhm.
we a lot of produce is available on our website, but we've also made it a point to promote local and Filipino food heritage, and so we have pinakbet, we have kare kare, we have sinigang. We have all sorts of recipe boxes, so it's also convenient for people to just buy online and prepare a meal for their family. So our
So,
recipe boxes are good for 4 to 6 people.
so
Um,
clarification.
sure.
Are all the vegetables local?
Yes, they're local. Yes,
100%. Okay, that's good. Okay.
right.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so we started out offering just a Highlands box and a Lowlands box, and that was at the height of the last ECQ, and then
Mhm.
and those were very helpful at the time, and it allowed us to get off the ground. But then we realized we had to diversify our offerings, and so we went from having just two offerings to in a couple months we had about 125 different individual products that you could mix and match. You could buy some bok choy and some tomatoes, or you could buy a box that
Nice.
just is a recipe box, Sinigang mix, tinola. Uh, you
Yeah, and so an interesting product that we have is with is a partnership with Healthy Village. They came up with an organic sinigang mix, and so we also wanted to make this available to our customers because
Nice.
what I think what's available in the market right now aren't exclusively organic or aren't exclusively vegetarian. Some actually are infused with with animal um, uh,
products,
products.
yeah,
Yeah.
as well as MSG is frequently an ingredient.
Right. So we really try to promote a healthy lifestyle, and it really starts with a good diet.
Yeah,
We
and our
also
mix is delicious, by the way, just as good as the other ones.
it's really good. So we went through like cooking. We had to cook it, and we had to figure out what the perfect mix of the mix is
Uh-huh.
with the box that we created.
Yeah, so our job became eating for a little while. So we worked hard on that.
Yeah, but it's healthy food. So
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of questions. What were the challenges? Because I know it's kind of difficult throughout, this pandemic, especially now with the second lockdown on supply of vegetables. I know last year there were a lot of people supporting, Benguet, etc., and then it waned down. And can you let us know what were the challenges and what's happening now? Are people really supporting local vegetables versus imported ones? And what happened in Manila during the second lockdown?
I would say the first real challenge for us was the supply. The first big challenge, because we were sourcing vegetables, and then we decided to change sources from just one source to multiple different sources to get increased economic sustainability. And so we were very lucky in that we were able to find suppliers like Henry Sison, that there were people out there who were already tying together the supply chain, shortening it, and getting direct to the consumer more efficiently. And so the first challenge was to find those people and build those relationships during the first ECQ, during which, we're all getting used to this. We're all trying to figure out, how does it work? And, the only two places we were home and in our warehouse.
Right. Yeah. So I think really with any business, it was really the challenge of supply and also figuring out how to build a team, if you have the right team in place, because we were building the structure of the business as we went through it. At the same time, also, I think supply was a lot harder. Supply was definitely a lot harder before, because during the second lockdown, a lot of the stakeholders have already been able to secure passes, and so it was definitely much easier to access the produce. There was no problem in terms of checkpoints and all of that the second time around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question on the pricing. What was the pricing strategy, or how should people look at it? Is your pricing the same as in the local supermarket, or local markets, or how should people think about the pricing for products like this?
Sure.
We see ourselves as sort of mid-market, and so we're able to both offer economic sustainability and fair pricing to our farmers at the same time that people are paying the normal amount that they would elsewhere. I mean, certain products you could find a little cheaper elsewhere. Certain products you could find a little more expensive, especially if you go to a high-end place. But we see ourselves, compared to other people, even offering the same service as vegetable delivery, as being on par. And so you're able to have this value add of helping the farmers and entrusting more of the supply chain by purchasing through us.
Yeah, and really considering the structure of the business and the nature of the industry, I think what we try to do is really be agile, because pricing is still seasonal, really, and would still really be affected by different weather changes, weather patterns, and it really depends on where the supply is coming from and how the pricing will result at the end. But we do a lot of math to make sure that we try to be competitive with the market, but also really just make sure that we align with the mission of fair trade.
Okay.
Because we are always we're reaching out to new suppliers all the time and building closer, because each supplier has their own profile, and so we're always trying to add to the profile of our supply chain to be closer and closer to farm gate.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we really try to figure out the value that really is delivered. So beyond the produce and the price of the commodity, we really want to make sure that the communities that we support are really reinvesting into their farmers.
Okay. Now, I think the Sinigang mix was interesting. Was this really designed for you, or they were already doing it, or what was the story of the Sinigang mix? I know there are commercially available Sinigang mix out there,
Right.
and what makes this different?
Oh, okay. Actually, so we this is from a partner. So this was not customized for us, but we did scour the market for different options, and we found this one to be the most attractive, and really because it's just healthy,
Yeah.
And delicious.
and delicious. Yeah. And working with people that really care about what we care about is also very important in terms of collaborating with partners.
Okay. And how do you choose your assortment? Is it just because of supply, if you have a farm, or for example, just fruits? Let's say strawberry will be in season in Baguio. Would you carry strawberries or not, or will just carry like bananas and lemon?
Oh, right. Yeah. So that's actually something that we want to expand to. We've been wanting to go into fruit, but it's quite different product from vegetables, and so we're just trying to get to know about it more now. At the same time, It really depends on getting that the right supply, because we definitely need the market and the volume to be able to source a
To be able to
particular
do it.
produce, especially strawberries. They're very fragile, and while we do have a source for strawberries, it's not feasible for now because we still need to build the market for that.
Okay.
Yeah, we started out with just two products, our two different vegetable boxes, and then we added our recipe boxes. And so we were focused on filling these boxes with what we needed, and then from there we started offering them, outside of the boxes, our mix and match. And so we've added items that were not part of the box, and so that's or one of our recipe boxes, and that's how we've been building, is out from that direction, which is why fruits has kind of come last. We offer banana lakatan, banana saba,
This
calamansi.
one. Where
That's
where where did the banana come from? Where do you
Banana
source
sab- Ah,
saba?
okay. So this is we source from two different, for the banana samba we get from SRS, mostly Benguet, but then they do have also, there's Isabella also for the bananas. I
Okay.
believe it's somewhere, yeah.
And you're sure, so when people buy from your store, they are sure that it's from the farm and not from just another market, correct?
Right. Yes. 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 Well, actually, Anton, the industry and the pricing and what the market can take is quite complicated. So
Okay.
sometimes, and actually, the industry is also changing. For example, there are efforts right now by the DA through partners
Yes.
like, let's say, Agri Food Hub, that they're able to connect with people like us, like retailers or the market, but then they'll drop off in Balintawak as well, which is a market. So
Mm,
it's really just shortening the line for now. It's not very easy to go very direct to farm. It would be very expensive, and it might not be scalable.
feasible.
So,
Okay.
so actually, our background in finance allows us to understand these intricacies in the market, and therefore, we really try to balance out how we can define sustainability at this point and survive as a business and match requirements of the market as we communicate to them what sustainability should look like in the Philippines.
Hmm. And do you think moving out of this pandemic to our reopening, do you think more and more people will order it online, or they'll go back to like weekend markets, or go into their favorite markets? So, how do you look at this market for you guys, for sustainability for this type of business model?
Sure. That's a good question. Yeah,
So
you go first.
we need to expand our portfolio. We believe that while we may gain market share, as because there's been, like, the number of providers in the market has first it shot up during ECQ. We were very much not alone in being an online vegetable retailer, and so now the numbers are decreasing, and people are being consolidated, and also the big players are getting into the market. And so we're going to have to maintain a portfolio that involves both retail as well as wholesale. So we need to be reaching out to companies that want to direct supply, restaurants, BPOs that want to do employee incentivization programs, because the people will want to get back to their normal life. But I think that we're hoping that a lot of people will start to include it as part of their buying routines as well.
Right.
But we can't depend completely on that, because these are unprecedented times. So we're going to have to figure it out as we go along.
Right. So one idea of retail actually is our Makati branch, which
Okay.
at the time when it was allowed, would accept walk-in customers. And so that this was just an idea that we wanted to test to see if the market could come back out and want to buy their own produce. But really, yeah, at this time, I think we're just really trying to figure out how we can serve the market best. And so we're just trying to read also how people's behavior will adapt to things. Understandably, prices are quite critical still for consumers, especially at this time, because during the pandemic, a lot of there's an increased number of unemployment, and so we understand that customers will also require prices to be more affordable than before.
Okay. So where can people find you? So I'll flash this presentation. Maybe you can orient us. Where are you guys
Thank you
located,
so
or
much.
your service of area? area?
Sure. So today, right now, where we're speaking from, we're actually at Katipunan, and so this is just near UP Town Center, near Ateneo, and we wanted to be able to access Quezon City, San Juan, Mandaluyong, and Pasig just through Grab because the Grab radius reaches those areas. And then we also wanted to set up in Makati with our partners there because it could reach Taguig, Pasay, Manila, and Pateros. And so we just really kind of wanted to cover a broad range of areas through our Grab, but we are also available on Food Panda and our website for next day delivery. But yeah, you can reach us in any way. We try to be as accessible as possible. So you can call us, you can put in orders on Instagram or Facebook, or just order on Grab or Food Panda or our website.
And how does it work? Is it better to order through you guys, or does would Grab and Food Panda have you guys have preferential arrangement with them?
Oh, I
Uh,
see.
I mean, for us, we're happy for any channel that people come through. But for the customers, we've definitely noticed a huge preference for Grab because
Mhm.
it makes same-day delivery very easy. It's using systems that people already have, so that you don't have to input your card, and everybody's used to the Grab drivers showing up. So that the Grab and Food Panda, very efficient, move quickly. Our website is also very efficient, but usually people end up choosing for next day delivery with our website. So it tends to be a little bit larger orders than Grab and Food Panda. We can also, if they request, we can do same day delivery on the website, but you go through our system as opposed to Grab, which is, most of our customers are just used to doing that. So
Right.
any way that you want to access us. Actually, we also have a few smaller avenues I'll mention. We're on a new site called Choose Pinoy.
Choose
That
Pinoy.
promotes, yeah. So local products here in the Philippines, as well as the opposite. We're on Beam and Go, which is so that OFWs can purchase goods for their families from abroad. Although actually, we've discovered recently that people from as far as Canada are purchasing from us on our website and on Grab as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Locally. Yeah. So we're
Yeah.
very happy to know that our reach has become international, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
then-
and of course we love Grab. A lot of Filipinos love Grab, and they just announced their SPAC deal yesterday. So I'm sure
Yeah.
they'll have more big network for to support services like you guys.
Yes,
So
definitely.
okay, now question: how can I know you wanted to go down the B2B route or wholesale, and how can restaurants partner with you, or maybe are you looking for a particular type of restaurants? Maybe you can talk to the industry. Who are the type of partners you want to be on the demand side? Because I think a lot of your partners now are on the supply side. So on the demand side, on the B&B.
Sure. Yeah. We would love to work with anyone. We understand that there are restaurants, there's home kitchens, there's just cloud kitchens as well.
There's BPOs that are also interested in providing, they might choose to send out a bunch of Sinigang boxes to their employees as an incentive.
Mhm.
Right. To keep options for food healthier. We've also worked with the NGO, and so really anyone that would like to source sustainably, we will be able to match that requirement, and so we make sure that we have competitive prices, and that we can deliver every day. Actually, we also have a reseller program. So
Okay.
we have a reseller that's based in Bacoor, Cavite, which I think has less access to fresh produce, or at least the market. And so she's able to deliver to Las Piñas and Alabang and Cavite at a free delivery rate because we're able to kind of corner a bigger market
Yeah. So we can
altogether.
aggregate the deliveries and we can deliver locally.
Okay.
Although with the B2B, we'd like to, our goal for the next step for B2B is to start getting more customers so that on a daily basis, we can be filling orders between 150 kg to maybe up to 1,000 kg, just sending it out in bulk to maybe a restaurant or a BPO.
Yeah, and actually, it could really be like it could come in phases as well. We can work with companies that want to start sourcing sustainably, even by a little bit, and then there's even an option to do contract growing with our partners. So the thing with the thing with long-term solution is we can actually solve problems such as market transparent. I mean, problems with market transparency. So there's a lot of food waste. There's unsustainable dining just because there's no real connection between the supply and the demand. And so with our business, we try to gather as much data as we can. We try to work as closely with partners to make sure that we can, find out what their requirement is, plan for it on the farm side by connecting to our suppliers, and so that there will not be much waste really in that chain. So we'd love to work on something like that really, because that would be the ideal solutions for our industry.
All right. Thank you. Before we end, we'll say hi to Magsi. Hi, Magsi. Awesome work. Hope you guys are doing well. Yes, it's really interesting work. So, thank you so much. Maybe just one last appeal. If you can talk to people still looking for a really good source, and why should they support you guys?
Thanks. Oh, I just wanted to say hi to Maxi. He's my good friend who helped me out in development work in Leyte also. So thank you for tuning in. um, yeah. So would you like to go first?
No, you go ahead.
Okay. Well, so we at Sariwa, we'd really love to be able to keep working on food security, on being able to just let people know more about like our local produce and how we can really kind of reinvigorate also our local food culture by and through very sustainable means, which is that we're taking care of the farmer, we're taking care of ourselves and our families. I'd like to mention there is a term that Miss Feliz P. Santa Maria, who wrote the book that we actually sell on Sariwa.store. She's a great food historian that I've been following for a while, and she says that the Filipinos actually believe in naya naya. It's an old word, but what this actually shows is that we would be happy to be happy with people eating. So what I love about our culture, our local culture, is that we love feeding people, and the fact that feeding people is not just limited to the ones serving the food, but also where we source our food from. So it's called Naya Naya. It's a happiness throughout the supply chain.
Yeah. Yes.
Really good.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. And for those of you, and maybe for all the restaurant industry, let's support Sariwa. And to all the people still looking for a good source for your vegetables, staying at home, we might be staying at home for a while, looking for sources for our fruits and vegetables and our sinigang, of course. All right. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Nisha.
Thank
Thank you,
you so
Sven.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anne.
And good
Thank
luck
you,
with
everybody.
your work. And always be safe. I know you guys are still out, in pop up in Katipunan. Be safe there. Thank you so much for being passionate about your work.
Thank you so much.
All
Thank you,
right.
guys.
Bye.
All right. Bye bye.